good afternoon, and welcome to Ad America. My name is Aninda, one of the guests here in Ad America, and we are so glad to have you here on our event. We hope you're doing well and staying safe at home. If you're new here, Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We currently move to digital platforms so you can enjoy our events from the comfort of your own home. On this event, we'll be having Break the Silence on female circumcision. But in the meantime, how about we spice things up a little bit with a trivia? The question for today is it true or false? Female circumcision provides health benefits. Let me repeat once again. Is it true or false? Female circumcision provides health benefits. Well, take a guess and let us know your answer on our social media because in the end of the event, we'll do a live shout out for those of you who can guess the answer correctly. Other than that, feel free to take a selfie and tag at America's Instagram account. And also, we would like to let you know that on this event, we provide a translation feature in sign language interpretation. To activate the translation feature, you can look at the bottom right of your Zoom panel and click on the globe. You can choose the language you would like to hear, English or Indonesian. Now, I would like to invite for the opening remarks Bapak Greg Bauer, Human Rights and Religious Freedom Officer of U.S. Embassy Jakarta. Bapak Greg, the floor is yours.
Selamat siang. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Ibu Kalis, Ibu Risa, Pak Marzuki, Ibu Wulandri, Ibu Debra, Dr. Aryani yang saya hormati, serta ibu-ibu dan bapak-bapak semua yang berbahagia. Perkenalkan, nama saya Greg Bauer, saya pegawai di Kedutaan Besar Amerika Serikat di Indonesia. Saya bekerja di dalam bidang hak asasi manusia. Saya senang bisa membuka acara ini yang berjudul Break the Silence on Female Circumcision. Ini topik yang sangat penting. Praktik pemotongan atau perlukaan genital perempuan atau lazim disebut dengan istilah sunat perempuan masih sering dilakukan di Indonesia. Menurut data riset kesehatan dasar dari tahun 2013, 51% perempuan usia 0 sampai 11 di Indonesia pernah disunat. Praktik ini tidak ada manfaat dari sisi medis dan bisa berdampak buruk terhadap kesehatan perempuan. Pemberantasan praktik berbahaya yang berdampak buruk terhadap perempuan adalah salah satu UN Sustainable Development Goals atau SDG. Pemerintah Indonesia mendukung SDG termasuk tujuan ini melalui Peraturan Presiden Nomor 50 tahun 2017. Menyusul peraturan ini, Kementerian Pemberdayaan Perempuan dan Perlindungan Anak Republik Indonesia merancang roadmap dan rencana aksi pencegahan praktik pemotongan genital perempuan dengan target hingga tahun 2030. Kami memuji dan mendukung upaya pemerintah Indonesia untuk mencegah praktik ini melalui roadmap-nya. Untuk mencapai tujuan ini perlu ada sinergi seluruh pihak, baik pemerintah, lembaga masyarakat, tokoh agama, ahli medis, dan lain-lain. Saya berterima kasih untuk semua narasumber yang hadir acara ini. Kita beruntung bisa dengar langsung dari mereka tentang praktik ini dan bagaimana kita bisa kerjasama supaya mencegah dan akhirnya memberantas praktik ini. Sekian dan terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Bapak Greg, for the warm remarks. Without further ado, please welcome our moderator for today, Mbak Kalis Mardiasi, author and gender equality campaigner. Mbak Kalis, the time is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the panel session with the topic Break the Silence on Female Circumcision. We all now have our great speakers. And before we start the meeting, I hope you guys have your cup of tea and your cup of coffee, because I also have my cup of mineral water in the classic cup of Indonesia, the green one. Okay. Uh, this afternoon, we have our five great speaker, and I would like first to introduce them and to greet them. The first is Mrs. Risha Aryani Kori. Good afternoon, Mrs. Risha.
Good afternoon, Mbak Kalis.
Okay, Mrs. Risha Aryani Kori has the prior experience working with UNDP and the ILO. She managed UNFPA gender program on gender-based violence and harmful practices, and she has an interest in advocating the rights of women against inequality and discrimination. Mrs. Risha Kori has graduated the MBA from Texas Women's University, Texas, USA. And our second speaker is Deborah Armbruster. She likes to say Debbie, Mrs. Debbie. Good afternoon, Debbie.
Good afternoon. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you, Debbie. Mrs. Debbie is nurse or midwife with over 30 years of experience in over 25 countries. She led USAID's work with the UN Commission on Life-Saving Commodities for Women and Children. She also developed the Home-Based Life-Saving Skills Program. She peer reviewer for the Journal of Midwifery and Women's Health, and she graduated her MPH and a fellow of the American College of Nurse Midwives. So impressive. So our next speaker is Dr. Aryani Dewi Widodo, specialist anak ya dok. Okay, good afternoon.
Hi, good
Dr.
afternoon.
Aryani.
Thank you for the kind invitation.
Thank you for coming in this panel session. Dr. Aryani is a pediatrician who has cared for thousands of Indonesian children and advised their parents. She also co-founder of Tania Kids Center on Instagram, a child development clinic in Jakarta. She also the CEO of Trans Medical Institute, a medical translation agency, and also the WHO or World Health Organization scholar. Okay, so great, Dr. Aryani. We have our conversation later. And the fourth, the fifth speaker is Mrs. Wulandari Herman. Good afternoon, Mbak
Good
Wulan.
afternoon. Good afternoon, Mbak Kalis. Thank you for having me here.
Okay. So I can call you Mbak Wulan, right?
Yes, please.
Wulandari or
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Mrs. Wulandari is Miss Universe Indonesia and also the founder of Artika Wulandari. She is an actress, a supermodel, a social activist also, and also now is a young mother influencer. The Artika Wulandari itself is the pioneering beauty cam in Indonesia. So I has introduced the five speakers, and now I think we can start our conversation. The first question is for Miss Risha, Mbak Risha, as the advocacy group organization representative here in our panel session. I would like to talk about the data and the statistics of female circumcision practice in Indonesia. In Indonesia regions here, the female genital mutilation rates are the highest. Is it true the highest? And the justification is also behind the practice of female genital mutilation. So how can we put an end to female circumcision as a global issue? Time's yours, Mbak Risha.
Thank you, Mbak Kalis. Well, thank you for the question. As mentioned by Greg on the opening remark, that we started from Riskesdas, yeah, Basic Health Survey 2013, which revealed that 1 out of 2, 51% of women, girls aged 0 to 11 years in Indonesia experience FGMC. So from that, actually UNFPA started to advocate on these issues, but again, the government think that the data of the Riskesdas was weak because it consists of only 4 questions. And then it was a bit reluctant from the government to discuss about this because they assume this is all symbolic. On 2016, actually, the minister was invited with also the president of Indonesian Midwife Association. We supported both of them to deliver the opening, not the remarks, yeah, during the zero tolerance of FGMC with the UN Secretary General. That's the beginning when the Ibu Menteri mentioned that this is like FGMC is part of GBV and we have to work to eliminate FGMC in Indonesia. MOICP at that time conducted the study, but it's qualitative study only in Java provinces. But then UNFPA worked closely with the National Commission on Violence Against Women, Komnas Perempuan, and with the University of Gadjah Mada conducted the study at the 10 highest provinces according to Riskesdas. Yeah, we wanted to zoom in the type and then the practice of this FGMC. And then during that time, we established what we call it consultative team, consists of the government, academic, religious leaders, and everything. Yeah, everyone to be involved from the first phase. Yeah. Even when we developed the questionnaire, BPS, yeah, National Statistic was involved. National, MOECP involved, and then MOH was involved because our strategy is to have ownership by the government. Again, it shows that the result is mentioned that symbolic only 2.1%. From 4 type classified type by WHO, it's all practiced in Indonesia. We have specific one that Indonesia practice, yeah. So that's the beginning when we started our advocacy. We, from the study, we developed policy brief consists of multi-sectoral responsibility. Yeah. Each sector, as it's also mentioned by Greg, we need everyone to hand in hand, yeah, to eliminate this. Then we started, MOECP started to develop for religious leaders advocacy guidelines, multi-sectoral, yeah. Even MOH developed the guidelines for health service providers. And again, when we had the roadmap, 2030 roadmap, it was still, yeah, in other countries, they have what they call it hosted action plan. For us, the roadmap even developed by the colleague of Pak Marzuki, Ibu Nur Rofiah, developed the roadmap. It has 2 recommendations. One is the availability of national data. If we don't have data, it means that the government never acknowledge that FGMC exists. And from there, and it's important, yeah, to have data because otherwise we will not go anywhere. We cannot have program that's supported by state budget. So on second VOW survey, we advocate the government to insert 10 set of questionnaire from the global module to be integrated into the national VOW survey. And on 2021 December, we had the new data mentioned that 55.2% of girls in Indonesia experience FGMC. And it mentioned that actually 17.5%, 21.3% is according to WHO methodology, but they mentioned 33.7 is symbolic. But I'm not sure about that because we will conduct the in-depth analysis. on this study, yeah, further with the government. Because like my understanding from our study at 10 highest provinces, because it says 17 of something. 17 is really symbolic, yeah, from the 2021. But another, like outside of 17, that they said that 33.2 when they added, it's a practice that outside of WHO classification. So we will look at this. So I can say that actually symbolic is only 17%. So Mbak Kalis, I think like our lessons learned is for this is data is important because at this time when we have national data, this is become like indicator achievement of MOECP for SDGs indicator 532. So yeah, with this data is important, but also the involvement of those group on the consultative group is really important. UNFPA just catalyst their effort, yeah. And then I know like really now religious leaders they have their own platform, advocacy platform, consists of like Pak Marzuki Wahid colleagues, yeah, colleague from KUPI. We also work with non-ally, yeah. We work with the network of MUI, and then we have networks for youth advocate for this because we also have the guideline for youth. And then your last question, how do we make this? Yeah, your second question or last question, how do we make this as a global? So for us, of course, like we have a joint global program, UNFPA UNICEF, consists of like 15 to 19 countries, where Indonesia is one of them. But in Indonesia, only UNFPA play. Support the government on this, and then there is a global advocacy platform called ORCID, and then there is Asia Pacific platform based in Kuala Lumpur called ERU. It consists of also our colleagues that member of our platform, yeah, advocacy platform. So this is important. And then just one thing that I would like to mention that how this become like a global issues. Yes, it's become a global issues, but also how this is become government issues because term is important. At the global level, we use FGM, and government a bit rejected with only FGM. We slash with C. And we don't use the term like since our studied with NCVAU, Komnas Perempuan, we didn't use sunat perempuan anymore, but we use P2GP in our document. Pelukaan dan pemotongan genitalia perempuan. Why? Because this is a strategy. Using sunat perempuan, people will easily link this with religious thought. This is Then P2GP will. This is like literally the term of FGMC, yeah, in bahasa. So people will remember that this is GBV. So on our last year, we had the second national meeting of our ulema, yeah, pesantren-based ulema. It consists of those ulema who progressive ulema, member of KUPI, and then those also member of MUI. In that, we didn't use anything related to sunat perempuan term. We use P2GP. Why? Because sunat perempuan, it's already have fatwa from MUI, right? And then we cannot withdraw their fatwa. By the time we use P2GP, we can ask for new fatwa. So at this time, from that meeting, actually first meeting on 2019, that's when the beginning we involved Pak Nazaruddin Umar. It was not really, yes, they admit, that FGMC is jeopardize the reproductive health of girls. We had that, we established the network. But the second one, it was led by Ibu Menteri herself. So the second ulema meeting came with what they call it Risalah Bogor. It was in Bogor, saying that the government need to have firm policy related to FGMC because we don't have that. We don't have that. We have from Ministry of Health, but they're being attacked. because what we need to do is like demand side and supply side that need to be balanced. Yeah, Ministry of Health only issued the ministerial decree on FGMC among health service providers, but it's a bit ambiguous. So our aim, the government aim at this time, is to have FGMC integrated into the draft of the national strategy on the elimination of VAU that we aim to have the presidential regulation this year. So that's from my side, and then that's from our update. And I think, yeah, again, multi-sectoral approach is important. I'm happy to have Pak Marzuki. I'm happy to have Ibu Aryani Widodo, because we can, I mean, like we based on our observation, when we have like religious leaders event on the elimination of FGMC, they need health sector. So MOWCP has this network, yeah. When we have this with midwives, we need religious leaders on this to support them. So yeah, I really agreed with the statement of Pak Greg that mentioned that this is supposed to be multi-sectoral approach. Thank you, Mbak Kalis.
Marisha. Thank you, Marisha. Actually, I'm very surprised and sad, yeah, with the data. And I would like to ask you more questions, but the At America official has instructed me we should move to the next speaker. So maybe in the question and answer session we could have our conversation more. So Debbie, Marisha has present the Indonesian data of female genital mutilation in Indonesia. So we would like to ask you, what are the global statistics on this female circumcision situation?
Sure. Well, first of all, selamat siang to all of the folks who've joined. And I would say thanks so much to Bu Risa, because I learned a lot about the Indonesian statistics, which I didn't know. So on the global statistics, over 200 million women and girls alive today have undergone female genital mutilation. And that is the global terminology that is out there. And sometimes it's female genital mutilation and cutting, but in general, it's FGM. It's so 200 million girls and women alive today have undergone FGM in the 30 countries where it's practiced and concentrated. More than half of the 200 million girls and women who've undergone FGM are from Egypt, Ethiopia, and Indonesia. And there has been a decline in the prevalence of FGM in the last 3 decades. And I heard Bu Risa talking about Africa. The decline has come in Africa. The decline is particularly striking in Benin, Cameroon, Ghana, and Togo, with some of the most dramatic reductions in Kenya and Tanzania. 30 years ago, prevalence levels among those adolescents in those 2 countries were 3 times higher than they are today. So we're making progress, but not enough. Oh, back to you.
Okay. Oh, thank you. So we are making progress, but not enough. So the next question is, what is the U.S. government position on female circumcision, and also the WHO position, the World Health Organization position on this issue, Debbie?
Sure. So the U.S. government's position on female genital mutilation is it's against U.S. law to perform FGMC on a girl under the age of 18, or to send or attempt to send her outside the United States for FGMC to be performed. Violation of the law is punishable up to 5 years in prison, fines, or both. There is no exception for performing FGM because of tradition or culture. Federal Law 18, U.S. Code 116, female genital mutilation, as amended by the Stop FGM Act 2020, makes it illegal to perform FGM in the U.S., and it was amended in 2013 to make it illegal to knowingly transport a girl out of the U.S. for the purposes of FGM. Now, I work for the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. We actually have a mandatory reference ADS chapter 205 that gives us guidance on FGM. By this guidance, USAID recognizes FGMC as a harmful traditional practice that violates the health and human rights of women and girls and hinders development outcomes. USAID opposes any practice of or support for female genital cutting or FGMC and works toward the goal of total elimination of FGMC. Under no circumstances does USAID support the practice of FGMC by medical personnel. This is taken directly from the document. On Sunday, February 6, 2022, on the internet, and I think Ibu Ristia mentioned this, there's an International Day of Zero Tolerance for FGM. USAID, again, reaffirmed its commitment to ending this human rights abuse and the gender inequalities that contribute to its prevalence around the world. So that is US government and USAID. The WHO's position on FGM is that it's a violation of rights with no medical justification. Let's say that again, because this is literally how they titled it. It's a violation of rights with no medical justification. And the policy statement that goes along with that is that FGM has no health benefits. It can lead to not only immediate health risks, but also to long-term complications to women's physical, mental, and sexual health and well-being. The practice is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights of girls and women and as an extreme form of gender inequality, or gender discrimination, reflecting deep-rooted inequality between the sexes. As it is practiced on young girls without consent, it's a violation of the rights of children. FGM also violates a person's rights to health, security, and physical integrity, the right to be free from torture and cruel, inhumane, and degrading treatment, and the right to life when the procedure results in death. As part, and I think in the very beginning, Greg mentioned the Sustainable Development Goals. As part of, and so did Buricia. As part of the Sustainable Development Goals, the global community has set a target to abandon the practice of FGM by the year 2030. So there's also the 61st World Health Assembly on May 28, 2008, urges all member states to accelerate actions towards elimination of FGM, including education and information necessary to enact and enforce legislation to protect girls and women from all forms of violence, particularly female genital mutilation, to support and enhance community-based efforts to eliminate the practice, to work with all, and this is to the intersectoral component that Buricia was saying, to work with all sectors of government, international agencies, and non-governmental organizations to support the abandonment of the practice, to formulate and promote guidelines for care, to develop and reinforce social and psychological support services. And there's a little bit more to each of those. And then the last thing I would add is that there's actually an interagency statement with WHO, UNFPA, UNICEF, UNIFEM, UNHCR, UNESCO, UNECA, UNDP, UNAIDS, and OHCHR. This statement is a call to all states, international and national organizations, civil society, and communities to uphold the rights of girls and women. It also calls on those bodies and communities to develop, strengthen, and support specific concrete actions directed towards ending female genital mutilation. Over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Debbie, for the very comprehensive answer. And thank you, I think, for the USAID and the World Health Organization for the hard work to end the female circumcision and all forms of gender-based violence also. So before we move to the next speaker, I also would like to greet our audiences on the at America Instagram and also the audiences from the YouTube of at America also, and to the audience from Twitter also. You guys can send your questions from the Twitter or Instagram on YouTube, and because in the final conversation, we would like to read your questions. Uh, I think I should apologize because I haven't yet read the biography of Mr. Marzuki Wahid in the first introduction. Mr. Marzuki Wahid is director of Institut Studi Islam Fahmina ISIF and Ma'had Ali Kebon Jambu Cirebon. He is the founder of Fahmina Institute, an NGO focused on gender equality, democracy, human rights, and civil society. Mr. Marzuki Wahid also the initiator of the Kongres Ulama Perempuan Indonesia. Jadi, the Kongres Ulama Perempuan Indonesia is the Muslim woman scholar, the first Muslim woman scholars of the world, yeah, from Indonesia. And the Mr. Marzuki Wahid is also the secretary of the Institute for Human Resource Studies and Development of PBNU. Good afternoon, Mr. Marzuki.
Selamat siang, Mbak Kalis. Good afternoon.
Oke, selamat siang, Mr. Marzuki. So, you are the representative of the community leader, especially from a Muslim leader here in Indonesia. The questions is, the traditional background is always be the reason in Indonesia of the female circumcision activity in Indonesia. So some challenge to end this phenomenon, especially when it comes to religious and traditional reasons. And how is the role of a community leader in helping to stop the ongoing phenomena?
Ya, terima kasih Mbak Kalis dan semuanya yang saya hormati. Senang sekali pada siang hari ini saya bisa mendengarkan dan berdiskusi soal, ini sering disebut khitan perempuan, tapi sebetulnya adalah mutilasi genital perempuan, alat kelamin perempuan yang saya kira tadi sudah disampaikan oleh Mbak Risha dan Bu Debi secara tegas. Betul, ini kalau di masyarakat seringkali argumentasi yang dikemukakan adalah alasan budaya dan agama. Mereka bilang bahwa ini adalah warisan nenek moyang yang terus-menerus dilestarikan dengan berbagai mitos-mitos dan juga alasan-alasan yang hemat saya tidak masuk akal. Dan bahkan dalam pandangan agama pun tidak ditemukan alasan-alasan itu. Saya ingin mengatakan gini, dalam perspektif keagamaan ya, itu sebetulnya khitan perempuan itu dalam bahasa Arab disebut khifaz. Khifaz itu semacam tadi hampir sama itu, FGM ya, female genital mutilation, jadi pemotongan genital perempuan. Dan ini sebetulnya jauh sebelum Islam datang itu sudah terjadi. Jadi karena itu Islam tidak pernah mengajarkan khitan perempuan. Karena itu sudah terjadi sebelumnya. Bahkan Islam itu merespons apa yang terjadi pada saat itu, yang itu sangat merugikan perempuan, menyakiti perempuan. Lalu kemudian Nabi mengatakan janganlah dipotong semuanya, karena itu adalah kemuliaan bagi perempuan dan itu hak perempuan untuk bisa menikmati hubungan seksualitasnya. Dan Nabi melarang, tidak boleh menyakiti, tidak boleh mengurangi hak-hak itu. Itu kira-kira, dan di dalam Al-Quran pun tidak ada satu ayat pun yang menyebut soal khitan perempuan, sebetulnya begitu juga khitan laki-laki. Sering digunakan tapi bukan ayat yang secara langsung menggunakan itu. Dan dalam hadis ada, tetapi hadisnya sangat lemah, dhaif. Ada beberapa hadis yang sering dikemukakan oleh para ulama, dan semua ulama hadis mengatakan hadisnya itu lemah, dhaif. Karena itu tidak bisa dijadikan dasar untuk pengambilan keputusan hukum. Lah ini lebih karena pendapat para ulama yang berbeda-beda di dalam Islam. Dan ada yang mengatakan wajib, ada yang mengatakan sunnah, ada yang mengatakan makruh, bahkan ada juga yang mengatakan haram. Nah, saya lebih suka yang terakhir ini. Dan ini dikemukakan oleh ulama-ulama kontemporer. Misalnya Syekh Dr. Yusuf Qaradawi di dalam tulisannya berjudul Al-Hukmu Syar'i fi Khitanil Inas tahun 2006, beliau secara tegas mengatakan bahwa kalau tadi khitan perempuan sebagaimana disampaikan oleh Bu Risa dan juga Bu Devi bahwa itu melanggar hak asasi perempuan, hak asasi anak, bahkan bisa merusak organ tubuhnya, bahkan ada dampak-dampak fisik dan psikis, bahkan kesehatan mental dan semuanya yang ditimpakan kepada perempuan, maka hukum FGM itu adalah haram dan tidak boleh dilakukan karena itu bertentangan dengan prinsip Islam yang prinsip Islam salah satunya tidak boleh melukai diri sendiri dan melukai orang lain. La doror wa la diror. Itu satu hadis yang sahih yang sering dijadikan prinsip bahwa kita tidak boleh melukai diri kita sendiri dan juga orang lain. Segala bentuk pelukaan atau pencideraan terhadap tubuh itu pada dasarnya dilarang, kecuali memberikan kemaslahatan bagi yang bersangkutan. Nah, dalam konteks ini berbeda antara khitan laki-laki dengan perempuan. Kalau laki-laki jelas maslahatnya dan itu dibolehkan. Bahkan ada yang mengatakan sunnah dan bahkan wajib karena kemaslahatan yang diperoleh. Tapi bagi perempuan itu sangat banyak madorotnya, bahkan tidak ada manfaatnya sama sekali menurut kesaksian perempuan sendiri dan juga hasil riset para medis. Karena itu jelas sekali itu hukumnya haram dan itu melanggar hak asasi perempuan dan juga hak asasi anak. Saya sepakat dengan Bu Devi tadi. Dan ini tidak ada pembenarannya di dalam hukum Islam sebetulnya. Khitan perempuan adalah tradisi kuno yang menimbulkan madorot saja bagi perempuan. Ini disampaikan oleh Dr. Mahmud Hamdi Zakzuk, ya, Menteri Wakaf Mesir pada saat itu. Beliau mendukung bahwa khitan perempuan itu pelanggaran terhadap hak anak dan juga hak perempuan. Karena itu tidak ada manfaatnya dan hanya melukai belaka. Karena itu Ketua Dewan Fatwa Mesir saat itu yaitu Dr. Ali Jumu'ah itu mengharamkan khitan perempuan, melarang. Dan ini diperkuat, didukung oleh Syekh Azhar, ya, Syekh Said Tantawi. Karena itu saya kira cukup jelas sebetulnya sikap kita, ya. Ini yang seringkali ada pandangan-pandangan yang menurut saya masih sulit untuk bisa diterima secara nalar di dalam kajian keislaman. Itu Mbak Kalis. Dan kalau dalam budaya, saya kira selain memang ini adalah tradisi yang saya kira tradisi kuno, ya, tapi kemudian belakangan memperoleh atau pada saat itu memperoleh legitimasi dan pembenarannya dari agama. Tetapi agama pun agama yang dipahami yang menurut saya tidak punya perspektif kemanusiaan, tidak perspektif kemaslahatan bagi laki-laki yang menurut saya cara pandang yang sangat tekstualis, yang menurut saya sangat merugikan kemanusiaan perempuan dan juga anak. Ini saya kira cara pandang ini dan perilaku ini harus segera ditinggalkan karena tidak ada manfaatnya bagi agama.
Ya, mungkin bisa diekspor Pak Marzuki apa saja yang sudah dilakukan oleh tokoh-tokoh agama yang progresif di Indonesia, ya, untuk stop female circumcision ini.
Ya, tentu sesuai dengan posisi kita sebagai pemimpin masyarakat dan pemimpin agama, ya. Ya, sejauh ini yang kami lakukan pertama tentu saja mendakwahkan kampanye, ya, melalui pengajian, melalui kajian, melalui sosialisasi, terus kemudian diskusi, dan kemudian memberikan pandangan-pandangan yang punya perspektif kemanusiaan, penghargaan terhadap hak perempuan dan anak, dan juga menghentikan segala bentuk pelanggaran ini. Dan itu kita lakukan melalui berbagai cara, baik secara lisan maupun juga secara digital ya, online dan seterusnya itu. Selain itu juga kita merumuskan satu pandangan-pandangan keagamaan untuk mengcounter dan mengimbangi pandangan-pandangan yang tidak manusiawi ini. Dan tentu saja ini kaitannya dengan otoritas keagamaan di tengah-tengah masyarakat, yang kadang masyarakat mencari siapa yang punya otoritas. Dan disinilah kita harus membangun juga otoritas ini sehingga suara-suara kita ini bisa didengar oleh masyarakat dan masyarakat bisa memahami apa yang kita lakukan. Jadi selain dakwah, kampanye, juga kita melakukan upaya-upaya lain, yaitu sebenarnya advokasi juga ya. Misalnya saya beberapa kali misalnya ketemu dengan bidan, terus kemudian dengan ibu-ibu, baik calon ibu, terus kemudian kita menjelaskan soal madorot ya, kemafsadatan, kerusakan, dampak negatif dari FGM ini kepada anak perempuan dan yang lain. Ini salah satu cara untuk mencegah dan kemudian menjelaskan, karena banyak sekali saya kira khitan perempuan atau FGM ini yang tidak rasional, dan itu semata-mata karena mitos yang dikembangkan lalu kemudian diyakini oleh masyarakat seolah-olah ini adalah bagian dari kemuliaan. Nah, ini yang kemudian kita counter di dalam diskusi dan bersama dengan masyarakat ini, sekaligus juga memberikan penjelasan-penjelasan yang rasional. Karena kami yakin agama itu adalah rasional. Ad-dinu wal aqlu wala dina liman la aqla lahu. Artinya agama itu rasional, akal, dan bukan agama kalau tidak bisa reasonable. Dan salah satu ini saya kira penjelasan yang paling rasional adalah penjelasan medis. Dan ini yang menurut saya dan terus-menerus kita lakukan ya, karena ini kaitannya dengan pembudayaan, Mbak Kalis. Jadi sebetulnya pandangan-pandangan keagamaan yang berbeda yang saya sampaikan ini sudah ada. Tetapi lagi-lagi ini soal sejauh mana otoritas ini bisa diikuti oleh masyarakat, terus kemudian kita bisa mengimbangi dan mengambil peran yang selama ini dilakukan oleh mereka yang mengkampanyekan hal yang sebaliknya gitu.
Yes. Thank you, Pak Marzuki. So Mr. Marzuki said that if there is a statement about the female circumcision coming from Islam, actually the statement is false, because the practice of the female circumcision actually coming from pre-Islamic history. Thank you. So we now move to the medical expert, because the first, second, and the third speaker all said that the female circumcision has a very bad effect to the girls. So Dr. Aryani, can you explore more about the risk and the psychological effects of female circumcision on girls and women?
Thank you, Mbak Kalis. Hi, everyone. If I may, we have heard a lot from Burisha, from Deborah, and from Pak Marzuki Wahid about how the situation is in Indonesia and in other parts of the world, and how it is not originally an Islamic theory and Islamic teachings. And may I remind you that actually the female circumcision was practiced by European and American medical professions in 19th century. It was used as a cure for a variety of conditions, for an unhappy marriage, for insomnia. And the people that advocated it was the top medical figures at that time. For example, the D. Marian Saima, which is considered the father of gynecology. And also John Hutchinson, the president of Royal College of Surgeons, also advocated the circumcision and other measures more radical than circumcision to prevent masturbation in male and in female. So I think it is clearly not something that come out of a single religion, but it is more of part of a tradition which happens not only in one area, but in many, many parts of the world. And according to the British Medical Journal, the last known medical female circumcision still happening in Kentucky in 1953 in a 12-year-old girl. So looking at those data, the psychological effects of female circumcision on girls and women, it could be, of course, pain, severe pain. It could cause excessive bleeding or hemorrhage. It causes swelling, fever, and of course, infections, for example, tetanus, if it is not done with a sterile condition. And also, of course, urinary problems and shock. And it's not rare that the female circumcision, depending on the significance of what they did, could cause or could lead to death. And for long term, it could cause urinary problems, vaginal problems, of course, menstrual problems, sexual problems, clearly, and severe psychological problems. It can cause depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, and low self-esteem. That's more or less that, Ms. Kali.
Yeah. Okay. Doctor, as you know that in Indonesia here, so many medical practitioners still open the practice of sunnah female circumcision or the symbolic practice of female circumcision. So what are they mean by the symbolic female circumcision?
Yes. What we have to make clear here is people often ask us as pediatricians to do the circumcision because it is required, because it is asked by the religion, or because it is asked by the grandmother and grandfather, because the grandparents tells them that they have to do it. While I think the psychological base for this, or the reason for this, is already switching. While almost, I think 50% or more of the parents are still asking for that, even in big cities, but they do not have the reason for asking for circumcision. It's not the same reason as what they did in the past. What they did in the past is preventing the ladies, the female, from being wild later when they grow up as a teenager, so that they do not have wants for sexual stimulation. But right now, actually, they are just doing it mostly just for tradition, because they have to. They know, they think that it has to be done. So sometimes if we refuse to do it, they will say, doctor, just do whatever thing as long as I can tell my parents that we have done it to the girl, okay? You can pinch, you can do whatever you want, just so that it's clear for me to say it. And so I think what we do right now, I personally never done it. I always refuse and give like lengthy reasons for that. But I know our colleagues often do it in a healthy way. Why? Because it is better if the medical staff does it. A doctor, a midwife, or the nurse, instead of them going to other shaman or other people, non-medical profession, who might done something else, or that might do it non-sterile, in a non-sterile condition. And so what we do usually is just, making a small scratch or a small pinch there to the prepucium. We don't even clean the prepucium as in the boys. So that's just what we do. And they're happy with that because, you know, I think the parents now, none of them really wants their girl to be hurt, or they don't have the purpose not to make the girl wild later. No, they just want to continue the tradition. That's all. But
Okay. The fact that still more than 50% parents still request the practice is still sad, yeah, because there is coming from their belief. So thank you, doctor. We
yeah.
next move to
Can I add something more?
okay.
Alice? The thing is, for a medical procedure, actually, we have to have a health indication, as Pak Marzuki Wahid mentioned. So it is actually not right, even just to do the scratch or the pinch to the baby girl, because it does not have any health benefit. And for a medical procedure, it has to have a health benefit. So when it is no benefit, the principle is do no harm. So we are not supposed to do anything.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Aryani.
you.
Yeah, we hope more doctor can be opening and progressive as you are. So the next we move to Mbak Wulandari as the representative of young parents here. What factors did you consider when deciding not to circumcise your daughter?
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you for having me here. I got so much knowledge about this. And then thank you to Bapak Mazuki also, and then Dr. Riani answering my question. I've been do so much research about this. Yes, my husband and I, we still not decided yet we're gonna do it to our girl or not, because we still not sure what is the for the healthy and then for the religion or for the tradition. So we still do a lot of research and then asking a lot of another parents and doctor and then also ustad and ustazah. So thank God we still not doing that to our girl.
Yeah. So, Mbak Wulan, I have no children yet. But my friends always ask me. Some friends of mine ask me. They have daughter and they got the distraction or they got their pressure from the big family of them. So, apakah Mbak Wulan have the challenges also from the internal family and how you handle the situation?
Yeah, actually, I'm so lucky. In my family, we don't really talk about this, except if a boy. Of course, we will do it. But for a girl, we don't really even, my mother-in-law and my mom never even asking about this, because for them, whatever we make decision for our kids, they respect that. And then, especially for this topic, and then before this, I also asking my mom, "Do you did it to me?" And then um, they said, uh, for that she told me, for me it's important the kids is healthy, and then if you don't want to do it, you don't need to do it to your kids. What so you have to the right decision for your kids. So they really respect for what we done for our daughter.
So you guys have a very supportive family actually, but what advice would you give to young parents out there if they still got the pressure from their supportive from their group or internal family?
For me, it's very important you and your husband to discuss a lot about what you gonna do for your kids. And then I think everyone, your parents, your mother-in-law, your friends, your community, have to respect your decision. I think that's very important.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Wulandari. So it is very important for all women and also all husband out there to check or to search many information, yeah, before take the action for their children. Okay, thank you guys. We have finish our conversation with 5 great speakers here in the panel session, Break the Silence on Female Circumcision. The next session is question and answer session. Here I have got the 3 questions, I think, and I would like to read it. Pertanyaan pertama ya, the first question, sebetulnya menurut medis sunat itu harus atau tidak dilakukan oleh perempuan, dokter? Ini I think for Dokter Aryani. Apakah betul berdampak pada syahwat yang berkurang, Dok? Ya, justru malah syahwatnya harus dikurangin. Oke, time is yours, Dokter Aryani.
Oke, thank you. Saya akan menjawabnya dalam bahasa Indonesia jika diizinkan. Nah, jadi begini, kalau dari segi medis, kita bicara kan tadi dari berbagai aspek ya. Kalau dari segi medis, seperti yang tadi sudah saya sebutkan, memang sunat perempuan itu tidak ada manfaatnya dalam arti bukan dalam hal kebersihan, bukan dalam hal mengurangi risiko infeksi, berbeda dengan sunat pada anak laki-laki. Kalau sunat pada anak laki-laki, begitu kulitnya itu prepusiumnya dibersihkan, maka risiko infeksi saluran kemih akan sangat berkurang. Nah, pada anak perempuan, sebetulnya perlu dimengerti bahwa yang namanya sirkumsisi pada anak perempuan itu berbeda-beda. Jadi, tingkat grade-nya itu lain-lain. Ada yang jenisnya diangkat klitorisnya dengan labia minoranya semuanya. Kemudian ada yang jenisnya itu diangkat semua-muanya, kemudian disisakan sedikit. Kemudian ada juga yang dengan cara infibulasi, jadi dijahit ditutup sebagian dari lubang vaginanya. Nah, hal-hal itu adalah hal-hal yang bertujuan tadi untuk mengurangi supaya si anak perempuan ini tidak punya libido. Jadi supaya tidak bisa merasakan kenikmatan seksual pada saat berhubungan seksual. Tapi masalahnya dalam jangka panjang, ini ternyata bisa menimbulkan banyak masalah juga selain pada saat itu. Tapi anak ini menjadi anak yang depresi, cemas, panik, dan pada saat menikah juga tidak bisa merasakan kenikmatan dan tidak bisa merasakan kedekatan dengan pasangannya, sehingga banyak menurut penelitian banyak perceraian yang terjadi. Nah, tentunya pada saat kita bicara sunat perempuan ini, kalau dia sifatnya menggores saja, tidak akan menyebabkan hal-hal seperti ini, karena itu tergantung tujuannya apa. Tapi kembali lagi, kalau tindakan medis harus ada manfaatnya. Kalau tidak ada manfaatnya, maka tindakan medis tersebut sebaiknya tidak dilakukan. Itu jawaban dari sisi medis. Mbak Kalis, maaf tidak terdengar suaranya.
I'm sorry, I want to explore the questions. When I was in Gorontalo, there is a woman in Gorontalo said that angry to me because I said the effects of the female circumcision about the berkurangnya sex performance and so on and so on. And she angry because saya adalah pelaku sunat perempuan di saat saya kecil, tapi saya nggak ngerasa berkurang apa-apa tuh gitu ya. Saya tetap perform well gitu. Jadi the resistance is coming from the perempuannya sendiri gitu, karena mereka merasa sunat perempuan itu nggak ada dampaknya kok untuk diriku gitu. So how about it, dokter?
I'm interested that you say Gorontalo because Gorontalo has a very high frequency of practice of this female circumcision. I think around 83 or more % of them are being circumcised. And so if she says so, first, what we really hope for was that she was only underwent that mild practice. So not the big surgery that took all the clitoris and the minor labia, the lesser labia. But if she was only scratched, then of course she will not have any problems or any change. if the procedure went well, because sometimes just scratching could cause a lot of bleeding. And that's why the risk is high, but the benefits are none. That's the problem. And the second one, it could be if she underwent the big procedure, then she might not know the difference between having clitoris and not having clitoris. And that's why she said she didn't think that there was something different between her and other people. That is just possibility.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for the answer. So I move to the second questions coming from I think Monica. Monica questioning what is the common terminology used for FGM? So maybe Debbie and Barisha ya can answer the other common terminology used for FGM in the other country. Maybe Debbie.
Sure. And I think Rishi was the first person to mention it, that it is female genital mutilation, and often it's female genital mutilation and cutting. So you will see FGM/C. And you don't see in any of the global documents the use of female circumcision. That this is the norm.
Thank you, Debbie. Mbak Risha, mungkin kalau di daerah-daerah lain di Indonesia, in the other regions, itu ada nggak Mbak sih istilah common terminologinya yang sifatnya daerah gitu Mbak?
Yes, when we did study at the 10 highest provinces, according to Riskesdas, like Mbak Aryani mentioned Gorontalo, they call it Mandiremon. Mandiremon. And then several terms, it's specific for that area. But again, like I just want to stress, like what Debbie already mentioned, that common terminology at the global level is female genital mutilation. When we translate it in bahasa Indonesia is adalah pelukaan dan pemotongan genitalia perempuan. We did FGM at the beginning. Again, the government of Indonesia kind of rejected the idea of only mutilation. We are not that mean, like Indonesian, like we only cutting. So we have, when we discuss with our HQ, what is the best terminology for Indonesia? FGM/C. So that's the right translation is pelukaan dan pemotongan genitalia perempuan.
Okay. Thank you, Marisha. So the last question is about the age. At what age is FGM performed? Deborah, maybe outside Indonesia, at what age FGM performed?
I mean, I think it really varies. There are some cultures that use it, and that's where it's probably the one thing because I thought Ibu Ritia has given us much great information. But I do think it's very difficult to talk about Africa because it's very different across the continent. I worked in West Africa, and that was primarily type 1. And you really did see clitorectomies and the labia minora removed. If you went to Somalia, and I think some in Egypt, you really had the very extensive practice. I think the extensive practice is much less common, and that is the one that's going down more. It's also the one that really causes so many problems for the women. But what you're seeing across Africa is that the advocates are winning. That it is decreasing in many countries, and they're often finding ways to because so it's either, and you asked about age. It's either as a baby, or there are many societies that it's like a rite of age practice. So it is, like the young teens, the 12, 11 to 14, probably earlier than that. And some will say they go into the bush, they become a woman through the practice. So finding ways to allow them to do that and not have to get cut and is really what they're working on and what they've been able to do in many countries. So that's what I know.
Thank you, Debbie. Mbak Risha mungkin ada apa? Kalau di Indonesia highest ranks-nya itu di age berapa, Mbak Risha?
Based on Riskus Das, actually 0 to 11 years. 0 to 11 years, but it's very rare, yeah, because in our study with Komnas Perempuan, it's mentioned mostly 0 to 8 months. So this is more tricky compared to countries in Africa because they could give testimony. Yeah, young people in Africa, they easily can say that I am being cut. Yeah, they can also become an advocate for this. Indonesia is more tricky because I don't know if I was cut when I was kid unless I ask my mother. Yeah, so this is a bit, and then Mbak Kalis, you experience yourself. The women in Gorontalo said that I circumcised, I was cut, but nothing's wrong with me because she couldn't compare between whether like something wrong with her clitoris or not. So yeah, it's a bit tricky for us in advocating because it's a bit difficult. Although yes, in our study we found that some could give testimony. Yeah, we even found that one baby was passed away because of this, because of the bleeding. Yeah, and then a good thing is we also found that trained midwives can be a really good advocate for this because they dealing with this. Yeah, dealing with the FGMC in Indonesia because our study mentioned that mostly they even Riskus does mention that they go to the midwife.
Yes.
It's performed by midwives. And then please be mindful that the saman or the traditional circumcision, it's like they will, it's old generation. Like they will gone anyway, yeah, and then it doesn't give them anything, yeah, any profit for them, so they just practice from generation and generation. So yes, again, this is like a tricky thing for Indonesia because we have this on the age 0 to 8 months.
Yes. Mbak Risha mentioned about the midwife. Debbie, here I ever experienced to have a panel with the midwifery in Indonesia, and the challenge is the midwife here itu the job actually is geser ke the obgyn ya. So the midwife itu need money because they compete with the obgyn here because they need money, so they practicing the female circumcision. So here also economical reason for the bidan or midwife here in Indonesia. And then I have reminded by the panitia to move to the next session, but still one question, and and I think the question is very interesting. From Gracia, the question coming from Zoom. Hello, I would like to ask earlier, Mbak Risha said that national data is important to show, ya, the data is important. Tapi kok the Riskesdas data itu masih stuck from tahun 20 and 13. So the newest data, Mbak Risha.
Thank you, Mbak Grace. As I mentioned to you, the Riskesdas data, they decided not to continue through Riskesdas data, but the government decided to insert this into the second vow survey, 2021 vow survey. We have first vow survey 2016, and then we insert like 10 set of questionnaire into the vow survey. So we do have, Mbak Gracia, a new data saying that 55.2% women aged 14 to 49 admit that they have their daughter undergone FGMC. So yes, and then I mentioned at the beginning, yeah, we have new data, and then we are happy with this data because once we have this data, the government put this as their SDGs achievement indicator. So they have to admit that this is an issue. I hope it's clear, ya, Mbak Gracia.
Okay, thank
Over
you.
To you, Mbak Kal.
Thank you, Mbak Risha. I think that's all the question that I read in the question and answer session. So I think our panel session is finished for now. Once again, I said thanks to Debbie, to Marisha, to Pak Marzuki, to Mbak Aryani, and also yeah to the I'm sorry, yeah the Mbak, aduh, bentar. Siapa tadi yang parent? Sorry. Oh ya, Mbak Wulandari. Mbak Wulandari. She should pick up the daughter from school. So Mbak Wulandari, I think the next session is the Mentimeter session, and I let the Aninda for time is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Mbak Kalis. What a fruitful discussion we had today. But before we end the episode today, how about let's break the ice a little bit with a Mentimeter? So soon we will see on the screen our Mentimeter session. So everyone is free to join our Mentimeter. I believe it's not gonna be difficult questions. Don't worry about that. Yes, on the screen we have, you can go to www.menti.com and the code is 15782211. So everyone, we are waiting for you. Our audience who are joining us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter are also free to join our Mentimeter session. And also everyone here on the Zoom. All right. Okay, as we are waiting for more participants, yes, maybe also the panelists can join the Mentimeter. Of course, the more the merrier. So we would love to have our panelists, speakers, and moderator to join our Mentimeter session. It's just gonna be a short question, few questions. All right, we have more coming in. Okay. So you can join on your device where it's on laptop or phone. As long as it's connected to internet, you're good. Okay, I think we're good to go. Let's have a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's get started. The first question, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear about female circumcision? So what do you think? One word that describes female circumcision to you. Oh, scary, hurting. Yes, daughter, yes. Future is on them. Oh. Human rights, violence. Sunat, yes, that's actually the term in Indonesian. Sunat. Wrong. Okay. Curious, tradition. Yeah, because some practices of female circumcision is somehow related to tradition, but yes, as we heard today, it doesn't give health benefits. Against female rights. All right, next one. Let's see, the second question is, how comfortable are you in discussing female circumcision? Very comfortable, comfortable, a little uncomfortable, or not comfortable? Okay, so we got 5 people voting for a little uncomfortable and 4 people saying it's very comfortable to talk about it. Wow, what a good insight. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Do you have one word to describe today's event? Okay, let's see. What do you think of today's event? Insightful, informative. Very informative, amazing, eye-opening, enlightening. Yes, I totally agree with that. All right, let's see. Number 4. Dum, dum, dum. Okay, we got comprehensive. Okay, question number 4. On a scale from 1 to 5, and 5 is the highest, would you recommend your friends and relatives to join Ad America's events? Wow, 9 people voting for definitely they will love Ad America's events. Thank you so much. Okay, one person saying probably, but we can change your mind. All right, I think that's the end of our Mentimeter. Thank you so much for everyone who have joining us on our event. And also again, I would like to thank you to our speakers, Dr. Aryani, Bu Deborah, Mbak Ulandari, Pak Marzuki, Bu Risha, and also thank you Mbak Kalis for moderating our event. It was very insightful and we hope that we can have another discussion again with you all. Thank you so much. So, everyone, early in this event, we had a question of the day. The question was, is it true or false female circumcision provide health benefits? And the answer is, well, we heard it today, it's false. The World Health Organization stated that female genital mutilation has no health benefits and damages healthy female genital parts. Congratulations to Nico Sudira from Instagram for answering correctly. Okay, thank you to everyone who has participated to our question of the day. Don't forget to tune in next time and catch a chance to get a live shout out from us. Now, you may be wondering how can I develop an awesome idea with a place like this? Very easy. You can send your event proposals to us by visiting our website at www.atamerica.or.id. Select create a program and go to collaborate with us. All the event proposals will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. Well, while you're on our website, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter to know what is our upcoming events. Also, we are on social media. You can follow us. We are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at AT America. You can get fun content, giveaways, and so much more. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, thanks for joining us. My name is Aninda, and see you next time. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.